What's good, YouTube? You already know this. It's your boy RVW, aka Now Rolling Night. I'm back with another reaction video. I know it's been a while since I did a reaction video. So I'm back. This video right here was requested. It's called five darkest NBA secrets you won't forget. This video was requested. So man, without further ado, man, let's hop right into this video. Alright, y'all, let's get it.
Today, we are going through the most dark and embarrassing moments in the NBA's history. I'm sure the NBA doesn't like anyone bringing these stories up again, but it has to be done. We can't forget about these things. Just letting you know though, you may never look at these players or people the same way after hearing these stories. But anyways, I'm Handles, and if you're new, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of these lit videos. And let's get right into the 5 darkest NBA secrets you'll never forget. So Derrick Rose was the #1 pick in the 2008 NBA draft. He was drafted to Chicago and was supposed to be the next generational superstar for them. But of course, that didn't work out because of all the injuries. But we aren't talking about that. We are talking about how Derrick Rose cheated his way into college. Now if you don't know, you must score a minimum of 400 on the SATs in math and reading only. Or you must score a minimum of 37 on the ACT. And Derrick Rose was scared he wasn't going to get into college because he had already failed the ACTs 3 times in Chicago. Yes, 3 times. So Derrick was getting desperate. He had to go to college. So what he did was he got someone else to go to Detroit and write the SAT for him under his name. And it worked somehow. Derrick was finally eligible to play for the Memphis Tigers and he got off free. So Derrick played his entire college career, being the top prospect of his entire class, and leading his team to the NCAA Finals. They lost in the finals though, and Derrick declared for the NBA draft, and was ultimately the #1 pick. But after he was drafted, all of this information was revealed, and the NCAA had to do something, because the player basically cheated his way into college, and all the rules, and got off with no punishment at all. So what they did was, they vacated Memphis' entire 2007 to 2008 runner-up season, and they lost all 38 wins they had. So yeah, Derrick Rose cheated his way into college, got in the NBA punishment-free, while his college had to be left with his crime. On October 7th, 1991, many rumors were surfacing about Magic Johnson retiring. But why though? He was only 31 and was at the end of his prime. He still had a lot left in it. Then later, Magic Johnson confirmed the retirement and told everyone the reason. He told everyone that he had contracted the HIV disease throughout the many sexual encounters he had with many women. The NBA took a big hit here. One of its superstars was retiring early because he was essentially being too careless. So he retired and didn't play for 4 years. But he wanted to make a return to the NBA, and the NBA and the Lakers welcomed Magic with open arms. But not everyone was happy. Many NBA players spoke up against Magic. Karl Malone, the mailman, was one of the people who were against this. Karl said, "Look at this, scabs and cuts all over me. I get these every night, every game. They can't tell you that you're not at risk, and you can't tell me there's one guy in the NBA who hasn't thought about it." And some fans were getting mad at Malone when he said that, but he responded with this: "Just because he came back doesn't mean nothing to me. I'm no fan, no cheerleader. It may be good for basketball, but you have to look far beyond that. You have a lot of young men who have a long life ahead of them. The dream team was a concept everybody loved, but now we're back to reality." Gerald Wilkins had said, "Everybody's talking about it. Some people are scared. This could be dangerous to us all. But you're dealing with Magic Johnson, so people are handling it with white gloves. They're not going to say how they really feel. And to be honest, they're all right. It is pretty scary knowing that when you play against Magic, you're at risk of contracting the HIV disease." Luckily, no one actually got infected by Magic, and that was the only season he played in after his comeback. But for Magic himself, he has to live on knowing he has a deadly disease, but luckily for him, he has the money to get the treatment for it, so it doesn't develop into AIDS. And when I mentioned Karl Malone, if you knew about this story, then you had to know it was coming. But yeah, Karl Malone has 4 kids, who he fully accepts and loves entirely. Or so he thought. Malone actually has 7 children. For one, he had fraternal twins with one woman, one girl, and one boy when he was 17 years old. He also had a son named Demetrius with another woman when he was 20. But get this, she wasn't actually a woman, she was a girl. When Malone had his son when he was 20 years old, the mother was 13. Yes, that's right, 13. Malone had sex with a 13-year-old when he was a 20-year-old grown man. Now the 13-year-old's parents didn't press any charges because they needed Malone to pay child support, which he kept denying to. But he ended up doing a one-time payment outside of court to the family, and a paternity test proved Malone was the father. But no matter what, he still pretty much denies that Demetrius is his son. Demetrius did end up speaking to Malone when he turned 18, but Malone told him that it was too late for a father-son relationship and told him that he had to make it on his own. And Demetrius did make it on his own. He ended up becoming an NFL player. And as for the twins, the girl, who is Cheryl Ford, ended up becoming a WNBA player. I'm not sure what the guy does, but Malone does in fact keep in touch with them. Just not so much as Demetrius. But one thing's for sure is that Malone did in fact have really good genes. And still, to this day, I believe Karl Malone still does not accept Demetrius as his son, even after his success. I guess just knowing that what he did was very wrong and disgusting just makes him not want to associate with anyone from that part of his past. Karl should just be happy that the family didn't press any charges, because if they did, he might not be roaming free today. Marv Albert, an iconic basketball commentator for NBC and TNT. And if you don't know who Marv Albert is, then search his name and listen to his voice. Trust me, you know him. But in 1997, he was actually involved in a huge sex assault scandal, and the scandal nearly ended his entire career as a sports commentator, and it probably should have. But here's what happened. In May of 1997, Marv was arrested on the charges of forcible sodomy and assault for what happened in February of 1997, when he was in Washington, D.C. to call a game between the Bullets and the Knicks. And the charges he had carried a potential maximum life sentence in prison. So Marv ended up pleading his innocence, and NBC was backing him up. But later, the woman revealed that she had a ton of bite marks all over her body, and DNA results showed that the bite marks did in fact come from Marv Albert. And the woman explained that Marv requested another male to be brought in so they could have a threesome. Yeah, that's weird. Come on, Marv. Another guy? And while this was all happening, another woman came out and said she was also sexually assaulted by Marv. And NBC heard enough. They fired Marv, and he was basically at risk to going to prison for life with the forcible rape charges he had. And knowing that all this information was exposed and so much evidence against Marv, he took the plea deal where he was able to get the rape charges dropped, and Marv essentially got off with no punishment. But he was out of a job. But after 2 years, after all the hate died down, NBC hired him again, and later TNT. Marv is still talked about as an amazing sportscaster, and he is. It's just that every time I think of him or hear him, I think of this time of how he luckily escaped life in prison even after being exposed. Some NBA players just can't get their acts together. You don't want to do anything to ruin your $1 million career. But Eddie Griffin, a former NBA player, just couldn't hold his temptation with alcohol and other substances. He was addicted. In 2006, Eddie was driving his Cadillac Escalade, and he rammed it into another car. What's worse about that was that he was drunk. But what's even worse about that was that he was fully nude. But what's even worse than all of that was that he told the witnesses that he was watching a porno and, gotta keep this family friendly. But yeah, he did the other thing a person may do while watching one of those. And he did all that while he was driving the car. But seriously, why tell all these people why you were naked? I don't see how him explaining himself there helped him any bit. He just had to be so drunk to even say something like that. But luckily, nobody was injured in the crash. After an event like that, most people would check themselves into rehab to better themselves, but Eddie felt as if he was okay. But sadly, only 1 year later, in 2007, Eddie died due to crashing into a moving train after ignoring a railroad warning. An autopsy revealed that Eddie had 3 times the legal alcohol limit in his system at the time of the crash, and all of this happened in the offseason of the NBA, so he wasn't able to play in the NBA again. And that would be the 5 darkest NBA secrets that you'll never forget. There may have been others, but I'll leave those for another time. But if you made it this far, I wanted to thank you all for watching. And again, let's push for 75,000 subscribers. So subscribe if you're new so you don't miss any of these lit videos. And as always, till next time, I'm Handles, and I'm out.
Okay, man. That was an interesting video. The one that was most interesting was the last one, the Eddie House one. I didn't know the man was dead, but that was interesting. Yeah, man. Like this video, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, like as well. Comment other videos or follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and just tell me what you guys want me to react to or what kind of videos you guys want to see. Yeah, man. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing a story time later on today. I'm not gonna tell y'all what story it is, but I'm gonna give y'all a little story time. I was supposed to do that yesterday, but I didn't get the chance to. But yeah, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit me up with more ideas of videos you guys want me to do. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and until then, I'll see you guys next video.
Blood on my sheets. She ain't say she was a virgin. Need to put them through detergent. Strap it up, ain't no burning. Fell in love with the money. When you laugh, not funny.